Welcome back to the Nomads Notes help videos, and in this video we're going to look at how to manage your categories. So we're going to come over here to the navigation icon again and come to My Categories. And on the My Categories page we can look at either expense categories or campsite types. So we'll look at expense categories first, and so we can see all the expense categories in the program that are already there and how to add new ones. And so we can see the category on the left, and we can see we have 68 entries against our accommodation. We look at auto and transport, and then we look at each particular subcategory under auto and transport. Same with bills and utilities, the same with business services, and all the way down the same thing. And we can see that we've got expenses, so many expenses against these categories. We have no expenses example for health and fitness so far, and no expenses for insurance or kids. We can add new expense categories if we can't find what we want here. And there's a long list, so be careful you check the whole list before you want to add a new one. If you've got a particular hobby you want to put expenses against, for example, you can add a new expense category here by clicking on Add New Expense Category, and you can just name the new expense category there and save it. You can also add a new subcategory to a category that's already there by simply clicking on the Add New button next to the subcategory. And again, for auto and transport, we can add a new expense category and save it there. But in most instances, you'll find it's a pretty comprehensive list, unless you have particular hobbies or interests. Most things you'll find are there. You can also look at campsite types. Now, campsite types you have, of course, listed. There's so many listed. You might find that the list is too cumbersome when you come to your Add Campsites, campsite type in your campsites page. So you can hide or unhide each of your campsite types so that your list doesn't get so cumbersome. So you can just, if it's blue, it's going to show in your list, and if it's white, it's not going to show in your list. So if you're never going to stay in a house sit, you can just hide that. And you can see most of the ones that I've got that are showing have also got campsites listed against those ones. So they're the main ones I use, but you might be different, and I'll never stay at a Walmart for now because I'm based in Australia, but when I next go to the US I might turn that on, so I've got that available to me. But at the moment I don't want that available to me, so I can turn it on or off to show, and I can turn those on or off at any time. We come back to our expense categories. We might want to add, edit or delete an expense category. If it's already defined by the program, we can't edit or delete it. But if we add a new expense category, and say we're a cyclist, and that's our main hobby, we can add a new expense category for cycling, for example, and we can see that here. Now we can edit that expense category or we can delete it because it's not defined by the program, so we can do what we want with it. So we can now add a subcategory to that, and that might be my bike. So I can add that there. So now I can't delete the expense category because it's got a subcategory against it, but I can edit or delete the subcategory. You can see there's no other delete buttons because they're all defined by the program, but if you've defined it, you can delete it. So we can delete that there, and then once we've got no subcategories against the category, we can also delete or edit. If we've just made a typo there, we can edit the typo, or we can change the name, or we can delete the category. but you can only delete it when it's got no subcategories against it. And once you have an expense against it, you won't be able to delete it either. And that's just a quick rundown on managing categories in Nomads Notes.